Welcome to the Crownsmen Show, everyone. We've taken away any sort of attempted humor. This is all serious now. And to bring in the show, we've got one of our hosts, Roy Slack, Mr. Roy Slack, and Rory Bamford.
Yo, yo, yo.
And I'm Jerrod Downey. And
I mean, I should say y'all, y'all, y'all.
Oh, yeah, Rory just got back from Texas. We sent him away to think about the things that he does on the show. Learn a little bit of a lesson. That was good. We've got Gowdy Molina producing the show, and we've got Kevin.
Oh, man.
Kavanaugh. Kevin Kavanaugh.
Yeah, there you go.
Kevin Kavanaugh.
Wow.
That could have been when my dad decided to call me, but he went with Devin instead.
Yeah.
Just too many.
I've decided I'm going to call you Kevin.
Kevin Kavanaugh.
He's been called worse, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
There you go.
Rory, I actually thought you were, for a second, I thought you were wearing a maple leaf. Now it's very obvious it's the Blue Jays, but I thought you were, and I was like, no. It was just the angle at first.
There we go. There's that treacherous logo. Marchand is just destroying them again.
Let's not talk about the Leafs this show.
Oh, let's talk about the Leafs all show.
As my brother said, the rat is now in the team of rats for Florida, and basically that game 3. And I obviously I still want the Leafs to win because I thought there was a chance for all Canadian final, and I wanted to see Bettman cry.
All right, let's bring in Kevin Kavanaugh, and let's talk about your team. How's it going?
So the Jets are down 3-1 in the series as well, in a worse position than Roy's team, actually, which is unfortunate. Hellebuck can't win on the road, unfortunately, and now they got to win 3 straight, which I highly doubt, so I've lost all faith. I think they'll win today, but then I don't think they'll win in Dallas. So
they should start looing him. That might help Hellebuck. Start looing. Bring out the Lou chant.
Yeah. The comedy writes itself. Look at all these teams, these big fans watching their teams just burn year after year.
Go Oilers, go.
Yeah. I'd rather cheer for the Oilers than the Leafs, Roy. Sorry.
Edmonton, my favorite city, as everybody knows. We've talked about it before on the show.
I don't know who's favorite. North Vancouver versus Edmonton for Rory and Jerrod, but we're not sure which one is the most favorite.
I love Edmonton.
No, there's something beautiful about driving around a city and just looking at nothing.
They built a city around a shopping mall. I mean, what a unique idea. The largest parking lot in the world. It's not the largest mall in the world, but it has the largest parking lot in the world. There's some trivia for you. You win on Jeopardy with that
one.
And
can we unpack the construction it would take to pour all that concrete in the middle of a snowstorm?
Oh, yeah.
That's what it was, a snowstorm when we got there.
It sure was.
Oh, smokes.
Calgary roads, though, it looks to me sometimes, seriously, like they didn't even plan it. They just drove around with a grader. Just like, we should do a turn off here. And they just kind of like...
I do know their inspiration now in being in Houston. So Houston has to put enough lanes because they actually have the traffic. Calgary was like, we can be Houston. We believe. And they just brought in those road builders from Houston, and they just literally just went off all over.
But man, you can fly through like the outskirts of Calgary. You tried. Vancouver is terrible.
I got 2 tickets. I got 2 camera tickets with a rental car, within 15 minutes in Calgary, just flying past.
That was with me.
Yeah.
I still remember the expression I heard in Texas, and I'll never forget it. How did it go? Big hat, no cattle. I thought that was a great expression. I haven't found a spot to use it on the show yet.
Oh, Roy, by the way, I know I scared you the other day when we said that Kill Tony was on Netflix, and I saw the look of fear flash in front of your eyes, and you realize you've got grandkids that are on Netflix. So I need to now warn you about another thing that's on Netflix. It's called Bad Thoughts.
I can't wait to watch it. Oh, I haven't. I've just been seeing the previews. I'm so excited.
I would. This is brought to you by Tom Segura.
Oh no!
Why are we promoting it on this show?
No, I'm just because if I forget to tell you to make sure you're parental safety.
Be prepared.
Yeah.
I wasn't prepared. I watched a few.
Is it that good? Is it that good?
I guess the show Mediocre Thoughts didn't get many viewers, eh?
No, this is...
It looks
That was good, Roy. I laughed at that one.
Yeah. It's a lot. You got to be ready for. You can't just casually watch it.
Let's talk about our heavy industry tour brought to you by Orica Digital Solutions. Blast IQ Underground provides quality control and improved underground drill and blast productivity for superior blast outcomes. Effectively manage the underground blasting process from planning to post-blast analysis with user-friendly reporting, analytics, and information management. We are heading to events across North America and Australia and filming episodes on location. Email us at info@crownsmen.com to be part of Crownsmen's heavy industry tour.
Pumping systems. They're the heartbeat of manufacturing, but they can be real headaches, can't they? Vibration, pulsation, back pressure, it's a wonder anything gets done efficiently or safely. That's where Blaco comes in. Their pulsation dampeners, back pressure valves, and other solutions are designed to tame the chaos, improve efficiency, and add reliability and safety to your pumping system. Imagine less downtime, lower maintenance costs, and a whole lot less stress. That's the Blaco difference. Blaco Industries, smooth flow, smooth operation, made in the USA. Visit Blaco.com to learn more. Attention builders, we've got everything you need to know about the grit and grind of the construction world in one show. The Construction Show is where you can share your expert techniques and strategies to help keep the crew strong and construction sites secure. From foundational tips, industry trends, safety strategies to advanced equipment and machinery. Be part of the voice of construction. Book your episode and showcase your company to millions worldwide. Visit crownsmen.com.
Dark Twisted Tales.
What are we drinking, Roy?
We are drinking
There we go. Oh, yeah.
country ale. A country ale from Oast House Brewers in Niagara-on-the-Lake called the Barn Raiser. I don't know if you want to read the can, Jerrod, but you're a can reader from way back. But
What does that even mean? What's a reference to? I know it means something, but
what? The Barn Raiser?
well, Jerrod is that, but
A barn raiser.
No, it's a reference to a previous show where I tried to get away with only reading part of the can. But
Yeah, right.
Oh.
What is it? Hazy Roy? What was it?
Yeah, something about sexy Roy, or I don't know what it was. Yeah,
that's
great.
right.
yeah, it left me pale and ailing.
Yeah.
This is,
Roy's got it today.
He's locked in.
Yeah, locked in.
I've got to take a drink very shortly. So this is a country ale, and we'll try it out. It is the feature beer from Oast House.
This is not a joke. Does this company have like Mennonite ties, or is that it just happens to? Because the barn raising thing is a kind of a Mennonite stereotype. They have the parties where they raise. You actually have videos online. It's pretty cool.
When they pick it up, it's like
They pick
60
it
of
up.
them.
Yeah, 60. It's more than 60.
I don't know.
60.
They're crazy. They got some crazy strength, man.
Yeah.
I think
One of them's a power of
topic
3.
with that. I think they could probably pick up my house and move it to Vancouver and immediately make it $2 million worth.
Of course, it depends on how big the barn is.
True.
No, I mean you could do a shed raising in the backyard with a couple of friends and a case of beer.
Well, I don't think the Mennonites are moving sheds, guys. Let's.
No, lemonade.
Yeah.
So I'm just smelling this one first. I want to see the hints of. I've got allergies attacking me. Yeah, so it's definitely lilac.
You know, I just
Exactly.
had a meeting yesterday with Petro-Canada Lubricants, who sponsors this show.
Thank you, Petro-Canada Lubricants, for sponsoring my beer mug.
Did you start out like Simon Sinek? The first question is why?
I focus on the viewership. I do not focus on subject matter.
Okay.
Yeah. And I just sit there and they're like happy, and I'm just like, this can't go on much longer. I mean, this is coming to an end soon.
Well, if you keep saying that, then they're going to get wind of it.
No, but
They're not out of beer yet, so.
Yeah. Okay. What are we doing? What is it? Rory, do you want to kick things off? Rory,
Yeah.
Mr. Slack, did I let you introduce the beer properly, or did you just interrupt everything you tried to say?
It's all good. It's
We'll
all
see how
good.
We'll see how Lenny loves it at the end of the show.
Love
Yeah, let's
Lenny
go
on.
into okay. So outstanding facts and events. Did go to the oil show after CIM last week. Now we got to go to Adipec at some point. That's what the words on the streets are. Adipec is the oil show to be at.
Can we talk about that for a second, Rory? How much we're seeing this, what looks like a complete shift from. It looks like the Middle East is the place to be for energy.
For energy, yeah. For energy, it seems like they're driving everything that is moving now, because, and mining too, they're getting into that, but still they've got the biggest shows now.
It's an amazing place, and I think I mentioned on another show, I've been to Dubai a number of times, and
Oh, you have?
United Arab Emirates, our parent company did a lot of work there, and I was on the international board where the board meetings were held in Dubai, and it's a fascinating place, and the oldest building in the country. You go to different places, and I'm always interested in the history. The oldest building in the country was built in 1961. And it's
Brand
just
new.
on the waterfront. It was a port or something at that time, but the city is, there's no history. There were the sands, and the different sheikdoms would move through, but the buildings, I don't know what the churn rate is, but you see a hotel that's 10 years old, and it's history, and the rebuilding, because you go there, you're going to go to the biggest, the nicest, the newest places, and just the speed of everything. It is a fascinating place.
They don't take down a building that's like 20 years old, do they? That's not what you're saying.
Yeah.
They just rebuild it?
They'll replace them.
Crazy.
Did you know cementitious binders can be responsible for up to 70% of the total GHG footprint of mine backfilling processes? Now you can replace up to 50% of the binder in your mine backfill operations with Graybond, Graymond's new low-carbon cementitious binder. This lime-based alternative binder maintains a 40 to 70% lower GHG footprint compared to typical cement and can adapt to varying mine conditions without compromising performance. Learn more about Graybond at graybond.com. Join us in the depths of the mining world, where global leaders and industry giants converge to shape the future of mining. From groundbreaking technologies, advanced machinery, revolutionary safety measures, to sustainable initiatives. This is the voice of mining. This is Mining Now. Showcase your company to millions worldwide. Book your episode now. Visit crownsmen.com.
That's
and
oil money.
There's some amazing, but Dubai doesn't have the oil. Like Abu Dhabi does, different places do. So Dubai set itself up as a financial
hub.
Center.
Oh, right. They want to be
financial
like,
hub.
Right.
And much more westernized than many of the other Middle East countries. But
they kind of that because they didn't have the oil. They wanted to be the place that everybody comes to for.
Yeah.
Like I think ADIPEC is in Dubai. I think that's where
it's just
set
like
up.
New York and Toronto and that.
Yeah. And Kamloops, obviously.
And Kamloops, and then Texas doesn't need to build one of those cities because they're Texas, right? I can't see how we will not be going there very shortly to film, to do energy.
Yeah, it seems like now from when I was talking, like I was meeting with everybody that we had talked to about filming episodes, and they're like, yeah, you have to go to ADIPEC. It came up 4 or 5 times, and there's just not what I was hearing too, which is interesting. As we all know, there's the big players. You've got ExxonMobil, you've got Chevron, I always mix it up. BHP is the miner, and then you've got BP.
BP,
right?
Yeah.
BP is the energy player, and then you've got the big ones, obviously, in the Middle East. They're driving and partnering. Like all the big players are partnering and driving basically all the business. So all these companies, actually, what was interesting there too is actually a lot of pavilions as well. So it's a lot of just pavilion set up. The hall isn't nearly as full. Like it's not sold out, not even close.
No.
Like no, the whole outskirts is basically there's like a massive space behind, and that's what everybody was saying. It used to be 2 halls, now it's not even full for the one. And whereas like ADIPEC, they say over 200,000 people now go.
Yeah.
So it's not even the same. Like 200,000, there's no show in North America that's that big.
No, there's not. There's the same with that event in Calgary.
Yeah.
Used to be, there was displays in parking lots. You couldn't even get into it. It was like I think it was a 4 or 5 year waiting list to get on that show.
Not anymore.
No, it's just, it's a shadow of itself.
Yeah. One of the things that it surprised me, but it shouldn't have, it's an oil focused country and they love their cars. and they love their fast cars. There's an F1 track at Abu Dhabi it's amazing. The
nice.
Ferrari World in Abu Dhabi, I think, is the largest indoor, like bigger than Disney. And we flew at one time. We couldn't get, or it was a cheaper flight to Abu Dhabi, but Abu Dhabi is about 160 kilometers from Dubai. So what the airline did is they said, yeah, we'll fly you there, and then we will shuttle you to Dubai, and it'll take about an hour. And I'm looking at it and going, an hour? 150 kilometers, it took an hour.
Oh.
They travel fast, and the highway is straight. And that's Yaz World is amazing. It's an amazing, or Yaz Island.
Is it indoor? No, it's not indoor, is it?
No, Yaz Island has Ferrari World. It has the F1 circuit, has a number of hotels. It's amazing.
Roy, I think you may have connected to the house hub again and someone was blasting tunes.
Nope, that was me.
Oh, okay, never mind. Sorry, Roy.
But the other thing to notice is how westernized it is. You know, when you picture going to the Middle East, you're concerned about your dress, but the United Arab Emirates is very modern and very Western.
I just pulled up an interesting stat. So their GDP was back in 1990, it was at about 50 billion. And now it's gone tenfold, over 500 billion USD. So it's just a straight line up with one blip for COVID. They're just going straight up with their
So next stop, Dubai. Gowdy,
I'm going.
we're going to Dubai.
Let's do it.
Yeah, you'll enjoy it.
Am I going or am I not going?
We'll see.
Undecided.
Okay, we'll see on your attitude.
Better check your record there.
Rory has never had any dress issues.
Boy.
The another interesting thing with just being in Texas, you're like, this is it. You could sense that people are doing well there, and just like with the infrastructure and everything, Texas would be the 8th largest economy in the world. That was interesting. 2.709 trillion in GDP in 2024. Obviously, can you guys guess what their number one export is in Texas?
Guns?
Didn't even make top 5, Roy. Didn't even make top 5.
I didn't even hear what he said.
Oh, he said guns.
Guns? Yeah.
No, that's their number one import.
That's yes.
My mistake. My mistake.
Yeah.
There's a deficit. There's a deficit there.
There's another level of courage for people that like engage in violence in Texas. Like,
that's dumb.
I know that this got Bill Maher in a lot of trouble saying about people being courageous who do terrible things, so I won't even repeat what he said. But it's that same idea. Like, if I went to Texas, I would be on my absolute best behavior.
You have to be.
Yeah, but there's people, you still hear stories of people, like, starting stuff. It's like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
Texas, I'd be like, thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am. Uh-huh.
Exactly. That's why they have that's why their culture is so respectful, because of that, I'm pretty sure.
What's their top 5, Rory?
Top 5, so 140 billion in oil and gas, and then 70 billion in petroleum and coal, 58 billion in chemicals, 53 billion in computer and electronic parts. So that's obviously a big increase there. And then 27 billion in transportation equipment, and 53 Fortune 500 companies based out of Texas. And what's also crazy is the median income now in 2023, 68,744. That is in USD.
Oh,
and only 4.1% unemployment, and the state government ran a surplus in 2023.
So the computer part whether you guys, when I was in school, I remember getting a calculator, and it was a Texas Instrument.
Oh, yeah.
Early on, the calculators, they business machines, different things. I'm assuming it came from Texas. I don't know for sure, but so early on, we always think of Silicon Valley and California, but Texas has had a tech industry for quite a while.
And they're like obviously always trying to pull in more. Like you've got like the major hubs setting up offices there and stuff. They have a friendlier tax environment and stuff as well. So
you've got Elon going there. I think Amazon's headed there or has operations there.
I think they set up a big. I know Apple does as well down in like outside of Austin. It was interesting. Like first time I went to Texas, I went to like Austin, San Antonio, Corpus Christi. And then this time it was Houston, Galveston, and some of the outlying areas. And there's a big difference in the Houston area. It's there's a calculator. It's
That's what my daughter plays with.
The calculator.
That almost that exact calculator.
That's exact.
She's calculating how much money you will need to spend on buying her the proper toys, Jerrod.
Yeah.
That's what I used to pass physics in the mid '70s.
Yeah. I'm really pulling for. I'm really hoping that I've got a genius daughter. She has no idea how to use it, so I gave up pretty quick.
Or how to push a cart, apparently.
Uncalled for. You don't go there.
No, you can go
Or
there.
disparaging remarks about kids.
Why'd you stare at her like that? Like,
No, I'm saying no because it struck it. No, she's not good at it. She was way better like 2 months ago. Now she's totally lost her touch. She's
At pushing the
wandering around.
shopping cart?
Backwards.
Yeah, because for one, she pushed the one side, but now she tries to use both hands, but she can't reach. So she's toddling back and forth, and she's getting distracted and wandering. I'm losing her in Costco every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Oh no.
yeah. So we'll see. I'm gonna put her on one of those leashes pretty soon.
Those are good. Those are
You
a
don't see
good
those
invention.
Yeah, you don't see those much
Bring
anymore.
it back. Bring it
No.
back.
That was
No, you don't see those anymore. You just see kids running around the entire store.
that's true. Yeah.
I'm gentle parenting. Parenting. Let them
Please
scream
don't do
and knock
that.
over all the shelves, please.
Yeah,
They're expressing their frustration.
I would caution viewers that if they're looking for parenting advice on this show, that they have come to the wrong place.
Or perhaps
Just
this
saying,
will
just saying.
encourage them to really parent their children.
Yeah.
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 What are you doing watching this show? Where are your kids right now? Watching a couple guys drinking beer while your kids are running around the neighborhood.
Oh man. So, Rory, any other interesting lessons that you learned from Texas? I loved just one thing I wanted to point out. We can bring that picture up too. Maybe if you can send it to Gowdy. Is you showed me the picture of the waterfront of the Gulf of America? I think that is right.
Yeah, absolutely. Gulf of America. What up, y'all?
So he shows me this picture, and I'm like, there's a road by the water,
Right on the water, like literally the closest.
and then
it
of course, then you have the hotel, right? No.
Is this
Then there's a
Galveston? Where is
Yeah.
this?
And then there's a
Galveston.
parking lot.
Glenn Campbell.
Glenn Campbell. Yeah.
The song, Galveston, oh God, I can't sing it.
But yeah, so they've got the road, then they've got a parking lot, and then they've got the building that Rory's staying in. It just looks like
I need this picture.
it's just like why?
I'll send it to you, Gowdy. I'll send it to you.
It's just exactly backwards.
As you said,
Oh,
Jerrod,
God.
the cartel definitely didn't build Galveston. The Masons did.
There we go. And
Well, and Rory is probably in one of the lower cost hotels in the area too. Let's face it.
The lowest, yes.
Sharing a room with someone.
oh, he'd try if his wife got to let him get away with it.
Hostels.
The O'Connell Lodge is a nice spot.
But it is funny, Rory, because what I was saying to you is culturally, from an American point of view, they went, well, we got to drive our vehicles, our cars,
Yeah.
along the beach.
Sure.
They don't care about the hotel. They want to drive that beautiful drive with a cigar and the beach and the wind and
And Bolivar, whatever the town is after you take the ferry, like off the Galveston Island, you can drive onto the beach
there you go.
the whole way. So you're like, all these places, you can just drive right onto the beach and drive along it for miles.
There you
So
go.
that's what they think about. They're like, we have to make sure we can take our vehicles with our cigars onto the beach.
So last show we were talking about how we want to get rid of plastic, which is an oil byproduct. This episode we're picking on Edmonton, Calgary, Texas.
Yeah, who's your main sponsor?
But we're going to go to Dubai. We're going to be loved in Dubai. They're going to love us there.
I don't think plastic's going to be. I don't think that one really hurts that much. I mean, I think the oil and gas is just. It's going to be used for so long.
So Dubai, the city planners for Dubai went to Vegas first.
Did they?
So you've got the big fountain like the Bellagio. You've got the hotel with all the canals through it like the Venetian. It's obvious that somebody had seen these things, and probably other places in the world too, and it's just made them bigger.
Yeah.
That's been their focus. So it's an amazing place, but the vibe is not like Las Vegas, let me tell you that. But
probably no casinos in sight. I don't know if they do.
You know what? I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think they have them there.
I didn't see any. Beautiful restaurants and.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I should say this, but I'll say it because it's truly happened. This is talking about my kid. Sorry, everybody, but I'm going to say one more thing about her.
Someone's obsessed.
A little obsessed. She doesn't really react to people. She just kind of stares a lot. But when we walked by the Chippendales in Vegas, she was just all smiles, waving. I was like, kid.
That's genetic. That's genetic.
Yeah.
It wasn't Essie.
And then,
Jerrod.
yeah, and then of course, yeah,
A lap dance.
it was.
A lap dance, yeah.
And of course, then everybody starts looking because then people see this little baby. It was a little awkward. But anyway, we got through that.
You're not supposed to take your kids that young to Vegas, so Jerrod, you know that, right?
Yeah, she loved it.
Four of the Chippendales were heading for a DNA test. Not my kid.
Yeah.
Roy, they are. Win is in talks. Like they're talking about putting in the first one in the UAE.
Oh, is that right? Eh?
Yeah, so they're talking about first casino set to open in 2027.
Nice.
So they're.
I did get to tour Yaz Island because the guy that was the project manager for the construction was actually Canadian, and he was a guy from North Bay, Ontario.
Is that the one designed like the world, or is that a different?
The whole island. No. In Dubai, you've got the world, and you've got the palms and different man-made islands. Yaz Island was an actual island, and they took the whole thing and turned it into kind of a theme park, hotels, apartments, whatever. And Phil Richardson was one of the project managers from North Bay. So when I was down there years ago, Phil took me on a tour, and the island the construction wasn't complete, but the F1 racetrack was, and they were preparing for the first race. And I remember Rod Stewart was coming in as entertainment, and I can't remember who all else, Beyonce maybe. There were some big names that come through there and put on concerts. So.
Did you say Phil Richardson?
Yeah.
I've talked to him before.
Oh, is that right? Yeah. Phil's from North Bay, and he went over to the Middle East. He was the construction manager originally on the shopping mall in North Bay, and got into real estate. And nice guy, good guy.
Yeah, him and we were talking like a couple years ago. That's funny. I should reach out to him again.
The one last question on. Oh no, I lost it.
Lenny.
It will be.
By the way, Gowdy, do you still? Because I saw Rory's hat. Do you still have those? Well, he thinks of that question. Do you still have the caps?
Oh yeah, I do.
Have you all heard about this one? All right, here we go. I'm so excited. So the what is
the first one?
Is it
the
MLB?
first one's the best.
Yeah.
Only for me.
So some designer came up with a concept for logo over top of the name.
Are these?
If
These
you
are
don't know
real.
what that
I
means.
saw these. Are these real?
These are real.
These are real.
What does that mean? I actually don't know
That
what
is
that means.
okay.
Breasts.
Yeah.
There. Boobies. Okay.
Boobies.
Boobies.
Yeah.
Assholes.
just
Yeah, I
had to
can figure
repeat
that
it.
one out.
Assholes.
The first one left some room for, but
Mazers.
I don't know what that is.
Passers.
mashers, you know,
I love this one.
All of this.
anals.
This is
Where-
real. These
where
got
do I get
sold.
these?
These got sold.
Nobody bought these. Nobody. I saw this going viral on Twitter a while back.
Yeah, this is great.
Boban. Meh, meh, meh. Meh, 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 meh.
Again, this is one of those things. I just
I
don't
love
understand.
Narwhals.
How didn't somebody go? Like, you think
This
they
is a terrible idea. Yeah. Or they went, this is great.
Fippies. Pause.
Pepe.
Right.
Stump.
Yeah,
Anyway, that's
these
my
are- yeah.
That's
that
Jerrod.
was
That's
fun.
Jerrod's heavy industry topic of the day.
The
That-
looking of these hats.
bad branding. Actually, I do want to talk about branding later. Roy, what are you thinking about? Unless you remembered your question. Did your question come back to you? I gave you time.
Oh my God, I'm going to have to edit and do like that loading.
Loading, yeah.
Yeah.
Loading.
So I did have a serious topic, but I wanted to mention something else to get back to the beer because
Oh, okay.
So the barn raiser and Oast, the brewery, is in a barn, and there's another brewery called Quails that's in a barn, and they put out a beer called Raised in a Barn. Okay. And they got a cease and desist, an informal one from Oast House, because they have a barn raiser, and I talked to the owner of Quails, and he's an easygoing guy. And actually, before he got into the brewing business, he was in marketing in a big company, and so he likes to play with the names. So they had to change the name of that,
Oh.
and it wasn't nothing legal. I think he was just being, fine, if you're concerned, we'll put a different name on it. The point is, in some industries, certainly in the beer industry, people are very protective of their brand. And I can understand that because if there's a beer you like, you recognize the brand, and sometimes I think to their own detriment, brewers will change the labeling on their beers occasionally. And I think that might confuse the market a bit. But
Probably.
anyway, that wasn't my topic, but I remembered meeting the people from the other barn that.
Sorry, I just want to clarify that you said he got a cease and desist, though, which sounds legal, or he just got a request.
He got a call from the guy saying, "Listen, we already have a beer called the Barn Raiser," and so I don't think anything legal happened there. But the guy said, "Fine, we'll change it."
That is a nice guy. I don't know if I'd be that nice.
Yeah.
Jerrod, haven't you been reading your negotiation book?
Not lately.
Me neither. Me neither, but
I'm
it was a
back-
busy week and a half.
I'm back to my old ways.
That didn't take very long.
Any entrepreneur, you got to pick your priorities, right? So are you going to spend your time getting into a fight about a name on a beer, or are you going to spend your time promoting your product and getting out there, right?
Roy, this is why for me personally, I need to spend time around. Because when you say pick your priorities, I'm assuming you're going to say pick your battles. That's just the way my brain works. So it's good. Corrects me a
Pick
little
your
bit.
priorities means avoiding battles.
Right, exactly. That Irish blood, though, it just creeps into your life. What was your topic, Roy? What was your actual topic? That's a good topic, too, but
Oh, mine?
yeah.
I had put a note down there. I know no one reads the notes, but I'm a note writer. So I was talking about use of capital.
Oh,
And for entrepreneurs, and I know we went through this, we, in mine contracting, we buy equipment. We bought the shop building. We rent our office space. So, I guess the general philosophy is that we look for capital to make money. So buying a building, that you can, if you buy the building, you can avoid the depreciation, but that building isn't earning you anything. So different people have different philosophies on it, but
Roy, just to clarify,
it can be big dollars.
You said if you buy the building, you can avoid the depreciation? Or did I mishear?
No. If you buy the building, you're dealing with depreciation, but there's no revenue from the building, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But you're removing an expense.
Yeah.
Whereas we look for capital that will generate revenue, right? So if you've got if you have unlimited capital, buy your building, buy the equipment, write it off quickly, whatever. But if you've got to decide where your capital goes, if it's capital that will generate revenue, that should be your focus.
Yeah.
My opinion, anyway. Different people approach it different ways.
And you were talking about like the leasing, because it's a really good one to get into. One that I actually I look at a lot for, if you're looking at a public company, is okay, what is their depreciation write down, how much are they investing, and then you have to dig in more on what are you putting your money into. Like Google famously have their whole moonshot sector where they're just seeing if they can get something that's going to generate 1,000 times the investment. So that's an expense with the potential of the payoff, even though it's their ad business that generates all their revenue. So when you look at it there, so for certain companies, they might actually see a building as, okay, we need to have a whole bunch of people here. This is going to generate.
The building may be revenue. If you buy a building and you're only occupying part of it, you may be generating revenue with it. But
and that's what Jerrod and I actually
you tend to look at stationary versus
because we were looking at if we bought a studio at some point down the road, if you didn't need the whole building, you could have office spaces that you lease out that does generate. You could potentially generate enough that you cover
your depreciation.
Well, because we have a weird thing in our business where we don't we're almost out of stuff to buy. There's not that much stuff. We got our cameras, we got our lenses, we got our gear. Every now and then something wears out. We just bought a few shelves to put stuff on. So you kind of have to and I don't really know, Rory. I don't even know. Okay, a company like a Starbucks, I was kind of they lease those buildings.
Oh yeah, they don't buy.
Sure
they don't buy. They lease. They lease everything.
Well, they would own some, right?
They probably have some. Let's find out.
Like the Seattle one, that famous one.
They would own that.
They would own that, right?
They would buy that one just for the landmark of it.
Remember how they used to do the one Starbucks in Vancouver? They do a Starbucks on one side of the street and on the other.
Yeah.
It was
that corner crazy. On Robson that had the four corners. There were 3 Starbucks.
Yeah.
I'm completely wrong.
I think there's only 2 now.
Oh wait, I think I'm completely wrong.
Yeah, I've seen a lot.
But they froze a lot of their because they just shut them down. I don't think they sold
Starbucks.
Those.
Okay, wait. Starbucks might buy their buildings. They might do the McDonald's model. I'm not 100% though.
Not 100% because there was a whole lease thing in the new media and stuff. Yeah.
For what? Starbucks?
Starbucks shutting down their.
Oh.
Well, I must assume because
during COVID.
Where we.
Oh right. Without drive-throughs, they shut them down.
And.
Yeah.
Sherbrooke. There was literally 2 Starbucks there, but one of them was the new building. I'm assuming that wasn't there.
I mean, obviously, if they're in a giant tower, that's going to be a lease.
That'd be a lease.
Or an airport or wherever.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing now with the amount of Starbucks that closed or shut down, were they all leased, and the ones that are still open are owned?
You can probably find that.
But they're franchises, aren't they?
No.
The Starbucks is all.
Starbucks isn't a franchise. Okay.
No,
I didn't know that.
So if you go to the airport, sometimes those Starbucks, you'll notice that those will be the receipt is actually not Starbucks.
Oh, okay.
So every now and then, maybe a hospital, but for sure the airport, they'll be run by the company that runs the White Spot and all that. But if it's just a Starbucks you see in Vancouver, that's run by Starbucks corporate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. which is very interesting because you just assume that that's a franchise model. They don't franchise. They keep everything streamlined through corporate.
Because, Roy, you'll see them offering, like, benefits and, like, call it, like, they really go after, like, the younger market for, like, because they'll pay for, like, tuition and stuff. That's kind of how they're always bringing in workers.
But in Vancouver, in Seattle, Starbucks is now the Tim Hortons. And you start to get these more exotic coffee places that are starting to take some market away from them because they're unique and different. It's, when Starbucks first came on the market, they were the high end,
right,
and very unique. And now they're just standard operating procedure in certain cities.
$10 a coffee. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No big deal. What was I going to say? Now I'm forgetting stuff.
That's why I don't drink coffee too.
I want to go into this a little bit more because it's interesting on like just the leasing versus the buying. Because like what Jerrod is saying, it is in a sense that model like for filming is you have to get better and better and better at like doing the content. You might have to buy a drone for filming on site, but there's no point in just there's really no point in just buying things for the sake of buying. You're better off to go buy a tech resources if it goes to $15 a share,
right?
With your excess capital, than to like have that money to invest. Don't have it for
but Rory, so I had an opportunity. This was years ago. The building that Cementation was in.
Okay.
I had the opportunity to buy it, but I'm president of the company, and I would be leasing the building to the company.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm thinking in terms of perception. I mean, there's got to be some conflict of interest there. So I didn't buy the building, but then what we looked at was building. Okay, so we were going to build a new building for ourselves. We found the property. I mean, we're underground constructors, right? So we're not going to build a building. So we go to a property developer. We start to develop a deal, and once we had a design, once we had a location, we didn't buy the property. The idea was for the developer to do all of that. The developer took the idea and shopped it and found another group that was willing to do it and make a swap for land. And we were ready to sign a contract, and it was crickets for 2 weeks. And I finally caught up with the guy, and he said, we've made a deal with someone else.
Wait, they took what you guys wanted to do, and then they just basically undercut it?
Shopped it.
They went to other people and said, would you be interested in this? What could you give us for it?
No, they didn't undercut it, Rory. They upped the value.
They got other people to overbid on like what the initial rate was.
Yeah, what they actually were able to do was find someone that would develop it with them and had some other property that they would give to them so that they could develop. So a sweetener, so to speak.
And then
So property developing is, not my business. And I luckily, this was in 2008, and we didn't do the deal. And then the market collapsed. So maybe karma, maybe whatever, but the people that went into the deal got into a legal battle. But we were, it actually saved us from a bad situation, but it also left a bad taste in my mouth for property development. But
yeah, Munger spoke strongly about property development and basically to avoid it at all costs.
And what did he say?
It's a cutthroat business for sure.
What did he say?
What did he say?
He said, "Leave it to the Jews and the Italians," is what he said.
Really?
That's what he said. He said they know what they're doing.
My goodness.
Yeah.
That was his. He didn't pull any punches. Jerrod, you have a friend that was telling you about how he has to go in.
I have. Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. And my barber is an old Italian guy, and he talks to me about his property development, and I'm like, man, I'm not competing with you. He just knows it. He understands it at a different level. Generations
and generations that have developed it.
And I've seen this over the years when, there's in my mind, there's no such thing as business ethics. It's just ethics.
Mm-hmm.
But when people can separate their personal ethics from their business ethics, that's when you get into risky ground.
Yeah.
They're
that's a
saying,
good point.
it's just business. Well, if
No.
you screw someone over, that you wouldn't do to a friend or a family member, the saying it's just business is not an excuse in my mind. So
But Rory, the one thing though is when you're going into something like that, what would have you done it the same way, or do you think you should have done something different from the get-go?
Yeah. So in hindsight, yes, definitely.
Because it's all
I would have bought the property.
Mm.
Okay, because the land was there for sale. And so what we did is we said, we'll make a deal with the property developer. You buy the property, build the building, a custom building, and we agreed to a price and everything. But if I had have bought the property, which was probably about a quarter of the total price, then I would have been in the driver's seat, right?
Right, yeah.
So in hindsight, part ownership of the deal means someone can't go shop it to someone else.
So, Roy, I'm actually curious how you deal with this, because so often when something goes wrong at the start of a deal, let's say there's 3 or 4 things that very clear value, they're going to go well, everybody's on board. And then there's this little thing, I think I've talked about it before on the show, and there's like this little scratch in the back of my mind, this could go wrong, but it won't. How do you, I think I've asked you this before though, did you have that little thing in the back of your mind like, this developer could screw me over, and then just kind of decide to go ahead with it? Or did you just not see that was sort of something that was going to happen?
No, it wasn't like that. Like, we had a good facility, like we were in a good place, and it wasn't a case that we had to move. There was a piece of property near the waterfront that looked really nice. We could build a nice building there. We would take 3 floors. We would leave the bottom floor for a Starbucks.
Yeah.
Of course.
And a few other things. So we had this concept, and the whole concept, it wasn't about saving money. It was about doing something really nice for our people. It was a great location, downtown, the water, it would have been a beautiful.
Was that in Sudbury
office.
or is that?
No, in North Bay.
Oh, North Bay, right. Okay. Yeah. Great location for like the water and everything.
Yeah. So when all was said and done, like it didn't hurt us.
Yeah.
That the deal didn't go through. So we really didn't have a plan B or a plan C, because plan B was really stay where we are.
Right.
Right. And we had a great building, and our people liked it there, but this would have been an opportunity to buy something that would eventually be capitalized, would be owned by the company. So there were a few, financial benefits to it for the company as well. But it would have been a win-win. But when things went south, that wasn't the end of the world.
So if you had have needed it, you would have, if that had been a spot you needed, you wouldn't have sort of done that whole process. You would have bought the property.
Now I would have, knowing what I know now.
Yeah.
But then, it's interesting because, and I've learned this too, and we talked about this in negotiation, do not assume that the people you're dealing with have the same ethics that you do, unless you know them well.
Yeah.
Right. So I go into a deal thinking that, it's just common sense. You're not going to shop this property behind my back.
And they're thinking,
I would never do that.
More. And
they're thinking, well, I'm looking at where I can make the most money on it, is what they're thinking. So,
and I want to quickly revert back to because the lease versus buying. So, in looking at the 2024 year-end statement for Starbucks, so we've got land, and this is September 29th, 2024. So, most recent annual report.
Post-COVID.
Land, the land is 56.9 million or billion. That's going to be 56.9 million.
No, it must
buildings.
Be billion.
Pardon?
It must be billion.
No, because I'll show you why. So 56.9 million in land, 684.8 million in buildings. This is I knew it was leased. I I had to fact
Yeah.
check myself. So leasehold improvements, $11.453 billion.
There you okay? Because all those landowners, that's their processing facilities and all that stuff.
It
That's
could be
what
their head office, their
Store equipment is $3.8 billion. So Jerrod, in a sense, they're kind of like us. They sell coffee.
right.
That's what they do. They sell coffee. They have a great app. They target people to try and get them to get stars, put money on their accounts to use. And then basically it goes, their property, plant, equipment gross is $19.4 billion. So $11.4 billion of that is the leasehold improvement. So they lease buildings and then they go in and they redesign them.
Wow.
And their accumulated depreciation on that right now is $10.7 billion. And that is up from $9.9 billion the previous year. So in a year, they almost had $1 billion in depreciation expenses.
Those are the assets within the lease space then?
Yeah, so they've got roasting equipment, $865 million, capitalized software, $1.49 billion, furniture, $775 million, work in progress, $750 million. So yeah, they're a leasing company that sells coffee. They lease
Rory,
and they sell coffee.
I wonder if you're in the coffee business, I wonder what keeps you awake at night.
Did you know?
I've only had 2 today. Only had 2.
So, remember I went on my whole no plastic kick? I switched all back. I got all back to plastic now. But
Plastics in.
He
Plastic
threw
back in.
away
I
his
everything.
stainless steel. Like, screw this.
I'm trying to drain water out of a stainless steel tipping it. I was like, yeah, let's get the regular thing back in. But anyway,
So, Jerrod, you got to look at the movie The Graduate.
what is?
Dustin Hoffman,
I think I've seen that, but I can't remember it.
and the guy gives him some, Dustin Hoffman just graduated from school, and one of his father's friends is there. They're having a party to celebrate his graduation, and the guy goes up to him and goes, "I've got one word for you: plastics."
Right.
Anyway, little movie trivia for you.
Well, so I was trying to hand make coffee.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's a bit of a grind.
Yeah. Well, the caffeine content, I got a little out of whack. I think I almost had a heart attack. It was intense. Do you have time for my topic today? Sure. We'll talk about it for a little bit. I was quite curious because, or not, curious is not the right word at all. But I
almost dropped a slur just from all our conversations, Jerrod.
Sounds like the right word is confused, but go ahead.
I get picked on a lot more on the show.
Yeah,
now.
I've noticed
Yeah,
it
I
too.
noticed it. Yeah, I can play the victim. Watch me go. I want to talk about.
Don't you be sending HR complaints.
I'll send them right to you.
1-888-555-3322.
Okay, so I look at a lot of companies' branding, and if you going back to the little kids thing, if you watch little kids like in a store, you can use them to decide which brand is the best, because they will, like Red Bull. My daughter saw it, walked past every other product, all these smart drinks and all this stuff, and started ripping the Red Bull off the shelf.
She wanted wings.
It wanted wings. 3 different types of peanut butter. The Kraft green smooth peanut butter. Grabbed it and started packing it to the basket.
Teddy bears.
I don't even know if it was a teddy bear. I think it might have just been the green.
Jerrod, it's because she trusts Red Bull.
Trust Red Bull. Yeah.
I'm looking at your chart.
Looking at this chart.
This is a cool chart.
It is so important, and I think companies, what they'll do is they'll hear something like that, so they'll go, okay, well, our colors need to be yellow and red because that's what McDonald's is. No, McDonald's understands who their client is, so they want to know that the food is. They want
hungry and drunk.
Hungry and drunk, yeah. They want that
Or
yellow.
kids.
What's that?
Or kids.
Or kids, yeah. Yeah.
And the parents are hungry and drunk
Yeah.
because they don't like the food. So,
Not driving.
see,
not
there's
driving.
the teddy bears. There's that cute little cuddly teddy bears.
They are pretty good. But you see, like these brands, like Red Bull. Obviously, they use that red, that blue. You've got Kraft, but like that Kraft Smooth, it's so interesting because I was looking up the green. It's safety, harmony, balance, and then the crunchy one is all about action, excitement. It's in the red can, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's so silly, but it actually is effective.
And you can't put either of them in your kids' lunches.
No, not if they're going to school. That's funny. My well, I'm getting myself in trouble. My wife said to me, she's like, because I said about the peanut allergy, like, okay, so now kids can't have peanuts. She said, so if our child had a I said, no, I don't think other kids should not have peanut butter because our kid is allergic. Yeah, we get along great.
We tested all the allergens except for shrimp. Oh, I'm scared of shrimp.
We used to go by the hospital.
Oh boy.
And feed her stuff.
Wait, we didn't do that, but for shrimp, we are gonna go to a nursing clinic because I'm like, man, everybody's allergic to shellfish.
Things have changed. Things have changed.
Roy's like,
when I grew up, nobody was allergic to anything.
Exactly.
They feed us everything. We ate, and here's the other thing. I'm off on a tangent now. We ate what my dad liked. Now, what's on the table now? What your kids like, right? You're trying to get them to eat.
I don't agree with that. I'm with you, Roy. I'm 100%
I'm with Roy too.
You wait.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no,
until your little cart pusher gets a little older there and starts getting picky.
I said I agree. I didn't say that's what we were doing. I just said I agree.
Yeah, you can agree all you want.
Okay.
Jerrod's passionate with the agreement, but he's melts.
I'm the one that's easily confused.
Melts at the dinner table.
Yeah, it's called spineless at home.
My daughter's obsessed with K-pop and going to Korea. So guess what's on the dinner table very often?
Oh, you're eating Korean?
Korean.
I do like Korean food, though.
Man, adding a sixth language is gouty.
Oh yeah, that's great.
I'll
Is it
tell
easy
you
to
guys
pick
it's
up?
cultural.
No.
In most Korean households, you're going to have one extra freezer. What is that freezer for? In most Korean houses, you will have.
I hope
one
it's not
extra
for a
freezer.
grandparent.
Yeah. The family pet. Yeah.
Oh no! Okay. Easy, everyone.
Why did you ask that question?
I don't know.
Okay, so Rory and Roy do not.
You're
know.
going somewhere with that.
Yeah.
No, this wasn't even a joke. It wasn't.
Now I gotta look this up.
Kimchi.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Ew.
They have a whole freezer
That's
full
right,
of
yeah.
kimchi. Yeah,
Kimchi?
kimchi. Yeah,
Okay.
it is potent.
Jerrod,
I don't even know
looking,
what that
our yellow, it's kind of yellow. We are
Gold.
enthusiastically full of opportunity for spontaneity, happiness, and positivity.
Whoa, what just happened?
Rory, do you remember the shift that happened? I mean, there was other reasons people were saying no to us, but do you remember when our colors, though, were gold and black? Kimchi. Oh, so good.
It is good.
Yes.
Now I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Oh, that does not look
Korean
good.
food is.
Gold and black. Well, the black, gold and black. We switched back to white and
because
gold.
Remember our business cards? Oh,
They look nice.
Oh,
shiny.
those were cool, but they were scary.
It was quite an interesting thing because you would see people and they would just assume they couldn't afford you. Because gold and black is gold is royal and luxury, and black is like luxury and all that sort of thing.
And power, control, and authoritarian, and discipline. Yeah.
And people would go, "Oh, we're just a small business." Like, small business? We're like 3 people.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I forgot about those cards.
Gold and black looks sharp and professional, doesn't it? I don't know what.
No, but going
No?
off this chart. So this is what I'm talking about, though, Roy. Yes, it does.
Yeah.
If you're opening a cigar bar, gold and black, an amazing color. If you're opening a come on our show and we'll do an interview with you and you're gold and black, you look like it's exclusive. It's only Caterpillar and Komatsu and ABB. They can afford to be on your show.
Mm-hmm.
It is a subconscious thing. So when we switch from white to gold, the people would tell us they couldn't afford us before we'd even get a chance to talk about what we did.
Yep.
When we switched to white,
I forgot about that.
it went away.
Really?
It completely went away.
Yep.
Gone.
At least we can have the conversation.
Yeah. And then things like in our media package, we used not just red for action, but specific, almost red with a tinge of orange. Yeah, that was the old one.
Mm-hmm.
Red with a tinge of orange that is more about trust. Or sorry, orange, optimist, independence, adventure, creativity, fun.
Yeah.
So in our old media package.
So what should I do with our cranky old men drinking beer card to generate trust in the industry?
No, I trust that.
I will
Roy.
say that's an awesome business card. That was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Staples, $25 for 100.
There you go.
I would get rid of the black. Yeah.
Let me make a note of that.
Yeah, it is. It's a very real thing, though, and I think a lot of companies, because they see, and the other thing is most new companies go for black because they think it makes it look good.
Yeah.
And it's
interesting,
exclusive.
Jerrod.
They're new, so they're thinking we're new, we're exclusive.
Yes. Yep.
That's
I think it's a personal thing, too, because I was much more focused on the words. So we build minds. I wanted the we to be about us as a team. I wanted the build to be positive. I want the minds to send a message to, the market we're in.
Yeah.
But I was totally focused on the words.
And you're blue, though, with Cementation,
colors,
blue and white, right?
Yeah.
Blue and
The
white.
colors are blue and white.
Which is a great
and,
color for mining with like the trust and
Which-
everything.
And that's a bit of differentiation because, Redpath is red. Dynatech was different colors. So
Yeah.
it depends on what market you're in. You don't want to put in a color that looks exactly the same as your main competitor either.
Actually, Roy,
But the words were what we focused on.
do you know what's interesting? I don't know if you know the backstory. So, like, we first saw Cementation probably, I guess it would have been 2016 at CIM Vancouver, Jerrod, because I remember I was talking to somebody from there before we met you, Roy. Like, Roy, you came by our booth in 2018 going like, what are you guys doing? Because we had like a red carpet out and we were filming and all
Very
that.
aggressively, by the way.
What?
Mhm.
The Roy was very aggressive. No, I'm kidding.
No. But what's
That's just
interesting
me.
is I always remembered Cementation, and then Merit. You guys acquired Merit Consulting, and that was another company that we'd been going after for marketing. But it was the colors that you had. They are. I know just from a fact from seeing them in 2016 and talking to people. I always remembered. I was like, man, I got to get Cementation on. Like, we got to do business with Cementation because those colors stood out more so than like all there. I remember seeing a booth. It was probably like Sandvik or something. It was like all black, and you're like,
It was.
whoa,
Sandvik. Yeah.
and you're like, whoa, that's they don't want people coming into their booth.
Yeah.
They're like, and that exclusivity it stands out a lot.
And I should say this. This is an important part, though, with like that black and white.
Yeah.
Sandvik at that event had, I think, one of the nicest looking booth.
Yes.
You put it in a lineup, you'd go, it had posts on the side.
You saw it. You saw it. You're like, whoa.
And very few people were going in it.
Yeah.
'Cause we were right across.
You know
from it.
what? Like that booth in Vancouver.
Mhm.
Okay? But if you go down to Santiago, Chile,
Yep.
like there's a cultural element to this too. And what you think might work, like even your business card might work in Canada or North America. And you go overseas, you go elsewhere, and there's a different vibe and a different impression.
Right. That's probably accurate in the sense like how different companies try and go in, like an Amazon tries to go into an India and just get smashed. They just get obliterated. Like they can't do anything.
Yeah.
And I do think you can put a little bit too much into, the color you're using and all that sort of thing. But if you're a company that's trying to push into the market and you go out into an event like CIM and you did what we did, you go gold and black,
Yeah.
you're right away. That is sending us. People know what that stuff means, even if they're not consciously realizing it.
Well, this
Right.
is what's interesting. Like a Marty the Miner, who is very popular.
Very popular. Yep.
White and red. And if you look at that, what is it? Excitement, energy, passion. And what does this drive out in people? They're like, we got to get Marty.
Yeah.
We got to get Marty for the kids and for ourselves. We're not going to say that, but we need to get him for our office.
I know,
But that,
all of a sudden people have like 10 kids or something.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Similar to what Lenny does for people.
See, Lenny inspires greatness because he is still managing your shit.
He just needs a little sprinkle of red, Rory, and then he would.
Just a little trust. You got to
So-
sprinkle it red. He's a little.
So to
sprinkling
get
that-
back to, and I think Jerrod, you recently did a show with what's the group, the Rain Group,
Rain for Rent.
Rain for Rent, and they did a real interesting thing in one of the conferences. And the first time I saw them, you're walking around the trade show floor, and there's this one booth, and hanging above it are a bunch of umbrellas.
Oh,
And
nice.
it really stood out. And you know how you look down and you don't see anything above the booths. Like the big fancy ones will have something built up. But these guys had just, how much does an umbrella cost? They had about 10 or 12 umbrellas at different levels just hanging above. And it really, it attracted you. What's this about? It engaged your curiosity.
Right.
I think some of those, a marketing idea that costs next to nothing, but it's a really unique idea, can attract as much attention as anything.
This is where I would caution people, though, is that Rain for Rent, it matches up literally with their logo and their brand.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
And then you see people, they do things that it doesn't even line up. And you're like, oh, you're just trying to pull a stunt to get attention.
Yeah.
And that has the opposite effect.
And quick shout out to that Rain for Rent episode, which I love that team because I was working with them setting that up. That episode was I just looked either today or yesterday, and over 50,000 views, great engagement overall. So I mean, if they've watched this far of this episode, I will be chatting with them soon about it. But man, they're a cool, like what they're doing is a very cool concept, and they understand their market. Like they're a pretty big company as well, but they understand, like, for mining, it's a pretty new space for them. Yeah. So mining now is just a great chance for them to showcase what they're doing in that industry.
They're a massive company.
Huge, great to work with.
I'm familiar with the group a little bit, but I just want to mention that very simple marketing technique. And like you say, Jerrod,
it's really cool.
It matches the name of their company, matches their concept, and it matches their logo. So it kind of all came together. But
they're interesting. They use black and white for like the Rain for Rent, but then they have blue highlights all over.
I think someone's not willing to change the logo. I think that logo was made at some point, if I was to guess, and they're like, we're not changing that.
No,
so they put blue everywhere, but they're not changing that.
No.
Yeah.
No. It's probably smart.
Yeah.
It is, though. And just to kind of drive the point home, like with our company, our values are affordable, flexible, exceptional. Well, gold and white match up with that, right? Yeah. Gold and black do not match up with that.
And that was another key thing when Jerrod and I actually were like, okay, I think these are like the exceptional we added. We had affordable, flexible, and something else, and we added exceptional because we wanted to be like the best for production quality and get better and better and better. That was a huge change as well that we saw. That was another big jump. People were like, "Oh, okay, you guys are trying to bring like the best out of what we showcase."
That's an interesting. This is a tricky topic, but if your company changes enough, do you change your branding? And I think
don't do new Coke.
Yeah. Whenever you do an acquisition, you have to go through that process and think about, do you merge brandings? Do you keep the branding that you bought that's already developed the market? Like, and you have to really think about it.
Well, like Petro-Canada Lubricants is an example. They bought. So how did that work, Roy? That was
okay. So HF Sinclair bought Petro-Canada Lubricants from Petro-Canada Suncor. They bought like Petro-Canada owned Petro-Canada Lubricants, which was owned by Suncor.
Yes.
But then they sold Petro-Canada Lubricants to HF Sinclair, but they're keeping the branding.
No, but it was more than that, because HF Sinclair was
not HF Sinclair.
No, it was, but then they merged with.
Well, it Well, it's Holly Frontier.
Holly Frontier.
Yeah.
Holly Frontier.
Yeah.
Right. Holly Frontier.
So now who is HF Sinclair is now the company, right? And they own
Yes.
Holly Frontier. Holly Frontier bought the rights to bought Petro-Canada lubricants,
Right.
including
Yeah.
that brand, because we had to reshoot a whole episode
Yeah, because
we
it
were
was like the branding was wrong. It was HF Sinclair. It was Petro-Canada Lubricants, a Holly Frontier.
but we were saying stuff like Petro-Can lubricants.
Yeah.
Petro,
So,
you
Yeah.
couldn't say
we
any
had
of
to
that stuff. Yeah.
reshoot because it was Petro-Canada Lubricants, a Holly Frontier
Right.
company or something like that.
Yeah. So
And then it switched again to HF Sinclair.
So they take that brand, that Petro-Canada lubricants brand, which is still tied to Petro-Can because it looks the same,
Right.
Yeah.
but it
But
is
it's-
two separate
yeah.
companies.
Officially.
So you're buying Petro-Canada lubricants products
Yeah.
from HF Sinclair,
Correct.
but
Who are owned by Holly Frontier?
no,
But Holly
Holly Frontier got merged or got bought by HF Sinclair.
Okay.
So HF Sinclair.
That sounds like a country music star.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Little dinosaurs, the HF Sinclair dinosaur.
All over. All
Yeah.
over.
But yeah, it just shows you like the power of that brand. They went, no, for this deal, I don't know the details of it, of course, but they didn't want just the lubricant rights. They wanted the branding.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that.
Holly Frontier and Holly Energy Partners completed the transaction with the Sinclair Company and became HF Sinclair Corporation.
Right. That's
That's exactly what happened.
And so in our industry, Dynatech, which is a major contractor, they wanted so much money for their name, and so when they were bought out, the new owner just changed the name to DMC.
Is
Which I don't
DMC
I don't know
mining?
what the yeah.
Oh.
DMC was formerly Dynatech.
Oh,
but
okay.
They, as part of the deal, they wanted additional money for the name, and they decided not to buy the name. I don't know all the details of it.
Interesting. Because their old
changed the
DMC
name.
is owned by a big company out of Europe, KLM Mining. I think it's KLM
KLM
Mining.
Mining.
See,
bought them.
they were just
Yeah.
on the show, weren't
They were.
They
just
were.
on the show.
That's another company I'm going to be reaching out to chat about that because they've got.
I love his interviews. He is just
Yeah, he's dynamite.
he is actually one of the interviews you're talking about cultural, Roy. I did an interview with he's actually the guy I started doing I was making like stupid annoying jokes and he just wasn't landing and I was like, okay, I got to shift. And I just went hard on
So
the
it's
interview.
just a normal show.
Just a normal show. Yeah, I was just being me. But I realized I was like, no, he wants to dig into like topics. So I just went at it with him and he is just, man, he can go.
And and for next episode, we'll talk about Dick's buying Foot Locker for $2.4 billion. That just came across the wire. What?
Jared, that look on your face is
Excitement?
scary. Oh boy. I love.
Now we're going to get into the Grady Dick jersey swap
I know that.
in the NBA.
I love these conversations. This whole
Roy knows that one.
episode was great with our MLP, Roy's also lab dance.
Oh, you found the card, eh?
Yeah,
Might enjoy a lap dance.
And now Dick's.
Is buying Foot Locker.
Yeah.
Will they call
Hey.
it Dick's Foot Locker? Like, will
Search
they
up
merge
Grady Dick's jersey swap.
I actually have a question, Roy, and I know I always bring up the AIDS thing, but I'm going to again.
the AIDS or the age?
The AIDS thing. No.
Age.
Age.
Age is a number.
When people start calling people and I had an uncle named Dick.
Richard?
Richard.
But was
Richard.
the word did it mean something different back then? Or did
No.
people
It just turned into slang, didn't it?
I don't get it. I don't get how like
I don't
How
get
you
it either.
become a? Is that what?
I understand that part of things a little bit better, but I just don't understand how kids like moms are calling their 15-year-olds hey like it's weird.
Stop.
It's weird.
Hey, stop being a Richard.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's. It just doesn't sound great.
Like come down here right now.
Yeah.
But when did it turn into slang?
I
Hold
don't
on, let's
get it.
Google it.
Yeah, let's wrap up the show with Googling.
Oh,
Yeah, you've had, because the NBA announcers are really struggling. Like Grady Dick is a player on the Toronto Raptors. Eh?
Yeah, that's
So
amazing.
Dick is penetrating the defense, and they start to say these things, and then they realize what it sounds like. And these professional announcers are really struggling with this guy.
Oh, have you seen the ones where like a president will talk to like the military, and he was like, "Yeah, he was really pounding it in there," and like the soldier is sitting there trying not to laugh because the president's talking.
And the term, it was around the 1880s. So how the hell did Richard become?
Yeah. Oh,
That's
the defense hasn't figured out how to handle Dirk.
Yeah.
You know, all these things come out.
Montages. There's
And
montages
they're
on
just
YouTube now.
statements that the announcers usually use.
Uh-huh.
And all of a sudden they have this different word in there that
And he's a
throws
really
them for a
good
loop.
player. It's a problem.
Actually,
Yeah, he is. He's good.
What are you looking at? Because the wild, crazy thing is I see that actually was first used as a nickname for Richard in the 1500s.
In the 1500s.
So it wasn't even...
And then in the 1880s, they decided to mess it up.
That's what I mean. When did it become
1880s.
slang term?
It says in the middle of the 17th century.
back in the
1960s is when it really started becoming used for a despicable person.
Yeah.
I think
1960s.
more like even further back, there was some of these kings that were really disliked, like King Richard the.
Maybe that's where it came from.
Oh.
It just, there was a Richard that was a...
Jared,
That's
I
where it
don't
came from.
know if we can. We should probably clip this for like references to history for YouTube.
For prosperity, yeah.
Jared was just trying to ask Roy about AIDS.
We're going to go to our next event. People won't even look us in the eye anymore. They're
Yes.
Roy.
Back when I was a kid, they were.
All right. That's all I was asking.
It's not a new
Think
thing.
of this. What did you think of this beer?
Yeah, let's rate this. Roy's like, I'm out of here. I don't need to get sent
done.
to Texas again.
I'm done.
Roy, Mr. Slack, what's your rating here?
Oh wait, we're supposed to rate it first.
No,
you
Roy,
guys go first.
Go ahead.
We gotta
Brought
go
to
to
you
Roy.
by Petro-Canada Lubricants and cranky old men drinking beer. Oh, look
Oh,
at
you
it.
did. Oh, nice. You rated this one. Oh, we gave it away.
We gave it.
I've tried it
Oh,
before,
sorry,
yeah.
guys. They can't see it. You see it.
I could see
Oh,
it.
okay.
Oh, you're even using good pronouns. They. Perfect.
I prefer them.
Here we go. I couldn't. Sorry. I literally said it before I thought.
Back to the beer, please.
Lenny gives this rating a strong. Jared, do you want to rate it first? I'm curious.
No, you're ready. I mean, you.
Yeah, you're holding it on top, so get ready.
I rated a strong 12.5 out of 20. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
12 and a half. Okay. I would say.
And you were wondering why we went to 20 rating. Like,
Damn.
we'd be down to the quarters.
I want to try the Quail Barn or whatever they call it. I want to try theirs.
That's a good rating. I'll try the other one.
Yeah. 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 Let them keep their brand.
You would rather try another barn.
I'd rather, yeah.
What was it called?
Yeah. I'm getting aggressive, but if I saw the guy, I'd be like, "Oh, I really liked your beer. It's good to be you. Hey, you want to be on the show?" Okay.
He's saying they got to move the barn.
They got to move. No, just keep this.
Raise the barn.
Raise
Raise
the
the
bar.
barn.
Same thing.
But you want a barn that's raised right.
Oh, brother, we need to stop. We need to shut this
Yeah,
down.
this is a disaster.
That's the parenting theme. We got a parenting theme going.
There we go.
I'm gonna say 14.
Nice
No,
job.
You know what?
Okay.
It just annoys me that that guy phone. The whole story annoys me. I'll 13.
Thank you, Jared.
And I really enjoyed this beer. It's
Huh.
easy drinking, just a touch of bitter at the end, which is a traditional ale, and nice flavor to
Bitterness
it.
of that
so,
guy calling raising the barn.
Yeah. Well, see, I didn't know. I mean, I don't
You didn't
I don't
know.
take that into account when I
No.
rank a beer. I take emotion out of the picture.
Yeah, it's all about business for Roy.
It's business.
Yeah,
See? No
you know.
emotions.
No emotions.
The cranky old men drinking beer is an incredibly ethical company.
Yeah. This is not a 13 beer. This is definitely at least a 14. I'd probably creep towards a 15 if I'm being honest. But
I just didn't. Yeah, for me, it's just not. It's just not a. Well, I don't know,
It
but we
shakes
don't
too
always have
much.
to agree, guys.
no, we don't always have to agree.
Oh, we can agree on that.
Yeah, we'll
Thank
leave it
you. Thank you for some agreement.
Yeah, we can agree. We don't have to agree.
there. Okay. Is
Okay.
there?
Jared's
maybe not.
rating. Do you realize Jared's rating now has gone from like 14, 13, 15?
No, I said 14. That's my rating.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's my rating.
Like a
Gentlemen,
Yeah, exactly.
okay. Everything we've said so far, we can still promote this on YouTube. We cannot add in.
No.
Okay. I think you brought up at a previous show, Jerrod.
Yeah, and we paid for that, Roy. So
okay.
I'm on good behavior now. I will only talk about pronouns.
Tariff probation.
Only about pronouns and Richard.
and Richard.
Richard.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're like a mom saying like you'd think it every single time.
Okay, but it wasn't. But that's crazy. Like, was
It
not
wasn't.
that.
It's the 60s.
It
Gowdy, I'm
started-
seeing the 60s. Is that what you're seeing in the
I'm
fact
saying
check?
the
That's what I'm
15
seeing.
Well, I'm saying in the 1500s,
Oh,
it was a nickname for Richard.
yeah.
Sure.
Then in the
still
17th
is.
century,
Yeah.
it became a slang for male genitalia, and literally that's
Yeah.
what it says.
Well, I'm glad.
Oh,
And
that's what it
then-
is?
Yes, and then
Oh, good
it
Lord.
started to
We've been
become
talking-
used
Oh my
as.
goodness.
Isn't that wild?
Somebody should have interrupted us.
So someone decided that a Richard was being male genitalia, and it became what it is now. So needless to say, Dick was not. So a mother did not go and, oh, you're such a.
Oh, look at this
Like, that's
cute
not-
little.
Oh. And we're out.
All
Cut,
right,
please.
thanks everybody. We'll see you. I was just waiting for a final close, and Rory found it. We will see you on the next episode of the Crownsmen Show with no sponsors, so we have spots open.